So, it's Game of Puffs. It's Keith, Tyler, and we're gonna do a review of this game since Tyler says he's gonna hold it up. Gears of War Judgment. Judgment. So, yeah, okay, this game came out March 19th, so it's been out for 2 weeks now. Man, I'll let you start.
Well, first of all, this review would have been up earlier if I wasn't a dumbass. But what to say about Gears of War Judgment? This game, it's a good game. I'll start by saying that. It's got a lot of fun in it, but it's kind of different and rather, yeah, it's different than Gears of War 3. Don't expect it to be Gears of War 3. I honestly thought it was going to be like Gears 3 and then some. But I guess I'll start with the campaign. The campaign is fun. It's broken into a lot of little segments, which almost feel like, I don't know, little mini missions in ways. And they're very intense. They're very difficult at times. This is by far the most difficult Gears of War campaign yet. I mean, the amount of enemies on screen at a time, the amount of explosions that occur at once is phenomenal and pretty crazy because the frame rate doesn't even drop at all. The campaign has its moments. It starts off really, really slow. At first, I didn't give a shit about the story. I was just like, wow, this is disappointing. But then I actually really got into it, and it got really, really, really interesting. The whole concept behind, like, you know, Baird and his squad, you know, being, you know, at court for, you know, treason, yeah, and disobeying orders, is a very intriguing story once it actually gets rolling. But it takes a little while, probably not until about the 3rd chapter or so. The declassified missions really add a lot to the campaign. Honestly, if they would have had the campaign broken up as much as they did without the declassified missions, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. The declassified missions, they really offer even more of a challenge, more of an incentive to go back and play the game, and you know, they're just fun. Some of them are really hard. Like some of them will blind you. Some of them will send more enemies. Some of them will be like, all the locusts have one shots on this level or something like that. And they're very interesting. And one thing that I liked about the declassified missions is the declassified ones weren't really random. They actually really fit the mission and the story at that time. Like, if all of the locusts had one shots, it was because you were going through a wide open area where, you know, you got into like a sniper battle or some shit, you know. I thought it was cool. Overall, the campaign was solid. It wasn't the best Gears of War campaign. I would say Gears of War 3, 2 are better, but it was alright.
My opinion on the campaign, like Tyler said, it was a slow start. It was very. I didn't care the first 2 missions, and like I was like, oh, some of these declassified missions are cool, and even then, like it was just the classified missions they're interesting. I mean, it's not really like, you know, a game changer. But then once we started getting in, you know, like the 4th and 5th acts, the 3rd, what I think there's 6. Like once you get that far, it's like they really do add, like Tyler said. And I think you did say this before, but like how they have the campaign divided up, it's kind of like not exactly, but it's kind of reminiscent of like how Left 4 Dead kind of does it.
Yeah.
Where like when you start off, it's kind of like it's not a safe room, but it's like an area where all right, there's not going to be any enemies spawning. Well, until you get to the last mission, then you spawn and like the gist of things. But
Like,
and there, it was cool. I mean, there was a couple of interesting things that I thought of, like, because Luke, my friend Luke pointed this out to me, which you could be able to tell me because I didn't play Gears 1. The Cantus were introduced in Gears 2, right? So I mean, this kind of showed that, because you know, there's a lot of them in this game, which I mean, I guess that they can't get rid of them, but. You know, but they did kind of explain that. They did kind of explain it that they were heavily used right after E-Day, that there was a lot of Cantus and a lot of like apparently the Serapede was a Gears 3 thing, wasn't it? So it's like it was kind of like after Emergence Day they kind of set everything and then but the story even within Gears you get a small sample, you get one squad, there could have been these things everywhere just that they didn't happen upon. Some of the declassified missions are really hard. Like one of them, if I remember correctly, was you got a hammer burst and a sawed off, like double barrel, and that was all you had to use. And so I'm like, and then one of them was your health doesn't regenerate naturally.
One was like all you have is pistols or something.
I remember the one was you had to run around with a cleaver.
Yeah.
Like everybody had to use a cleaver, which cleaver, yeah, it's almost guaranteed one hit kill, but I don't know if I want to get that close.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's story wise, it's not as good as Gears 3, I don't think. But I think actually gameplay wise and campaign wise and some of the I think it's on par with some of the moments, with some of the Gears 3 big moments. But the at least from the intensity and the difficulty, yes, this campaign's better. But story-wise, and probably even a lot of the moments that happen in Gears 3, that's obviously a lot better.
There was nothing that really pulled me in. No emotional pull in this campaign, really. I don't know, in Gears 2, when you find out that Dom's wife is dead. There's nothing like that. Or in Gears 3 when Dom actually dies. There's no moments like that where you're like, fuck.
Or it's you play. This campaign seems like you really just want to play it because, this campaign's fun or whatever. It's more difficult. I want to just beat the campaign on difficulty. And it's not that emotional pulling like you said with all of this.
Story kind of takes the backseat to that. So anyway, let's talk about.
Well, really quickly because you almost forgot about in the first take, the Aftermath campaign since you played.
Oh yeah, the Aftermath campaigns made me really wish that they made this campaign like the other ones. The Aftermath campaign was probably Gears of War 3 DLC that you just never put out. It was very fun. It's about 45 minutes or an hour's worth of campaign, and it has that old Gears of War type moments with the set pieces and holy shit type moments, and it wasn't as intense as Gears of War Judgment's campaign. You weren't fighting the entire time, but it had those set pieces that really wow you and is oh damn, the reasons why you loved Gears of War. So the Aftermath campaign was fun.
Okay, I guess multiplayer. It's weird. I mean, there's only 4 maps, and at the initial release of the game, all they had was team deathmatch, free for all, and what's the other one?
Domination and Overrun. Now they added execution.
Yeah, but they added execution back, and there's Overrun and I guess survival kind of technically counts as that. But I mean, there's 8 maps, 4 for the multiplayer, 4 for Overrun, and I mean, they changed the button layout too. The maps are a lot bigger than your normal Gears maps, or it's not that they're bigger necessarily. I think it's that there's just a lot more open area. Before, Trenches is a big map, but all of it's really small corridors where you could get in a snipe or a shotgun battle. But then there's also long distances. These are, I feel a lot more open, and there's not that that interesting little twist. I don't think with any of the maps. With all the maps in Gears 3, a lot of them were connected to the campaign. Thrashball, kind of, the Thrashball one, the Checkout, Trenches was in there. None of them are really connected. But one of the things that was the most difficult to get used to was how they changed the gameplay. Instead of having the D-pad weapon wheel where you could pick, your pistol, your shotgun, and whatever assault rifle you wanted, your grenades, you have 2 guns, which you have to pick, and then you switch by using Y, like just about every other shooter. And then it's, instead of you picking your grenades and then you tap the right trigger to throw it, you just hit the left bumper to throw the grenades, or you hold it and tap B. And I mean, for a Gears of War experience, it's different. I mean, active reload's still there, but I mean, that's honestly something they could not get rid of. It would not be the same game without that. but they like as a Gears of War fan, that makes it like I really wish I still had the old style. But then like from coming over from like if I want to hop on and right after we play Call of Duty, let's play Gears of War Judgement. It's not that big of a stretch because I mean again the controls are kind of similar. Whereas if I wanted to hop from playing Halo back in the day, Halo Reach to Gears 3, like the first couple of games you probably have to get warmed up because you know it's such a different control scheme. But yeah.
Multiplayer, it's fun. It's very, very fun. I mean, it feels like Gears of War. It's just, it's like there's a lot there, but there's not at the same time. I mean, there's a lack of modes. There's a lack of maps, which is just really disappointing to me. Overrun mode is fantastic. Overrun mode is such a great addition to this franchise. It's very fun. I mean, the matches last a really long time. Usually they're about 20 to 30 minutes. I mean, they're really long. But the amount of horde that you get to play as is nothing compared to Beast. And I wish they wouldn't have took horde or Beast mode out. Which sucks that they did in this game. Because I feel like they just could have added to it an improvement. Because the improvement between Gears 2 and Gears 3 in horde mode is like a fucking leap. Like going to the moon. I feel like they could have did even more. But overall it's fantastic. The class-based system's very... I feel the class-based system when it comes to the COD side is very appropriate for Overrun. When it comes to survival, it's okay. I can't seem to really find a team that gives a shit, which it's disappointing. I mean, it's fun. It's very difficult. It just ramps up in difficulty pretty fast. It's just you trying to survive 10 waves of locusts defending the E-hole. So I mean, it's fun. It doesn't replace horde or beast mode to me. It doesn't. It's kind of depressing, but I mean, it's okay. When it comes to actual multiplayer, team deathmatch is better than ever. Instead of 2 rounds of 20, it's 1 round, first to 50 wins, which is awesome. Which is just completely cool. The leveling system I feel is better. The leveling system, it's only to 50, but it takes fucking forever to get up a level or something. Like, I've been playing it for a while. I think I'm only at 27 or 28. But shit. I mean, Domination is a very fun mode. I mean, it plays like Call of Duty. It's exactly like Call of Duty. Like, there's 3 parts, and you're trying to capture each one, and it's scored exactly like Call of Duty, and that's kind of depressing. It's like Gears of War going Call of Duty, and it kind of lost its identity. Like, there's no Guardian mode, there's no King of the Hill, no Annex. There's no modes that really just made Gears of War stand out. Like, that's why I played Gears of War, was because of these multiplayer modes, and there's just nothing like that. There's no Warzone. I mean, it's kind of depressing. But the modes that they do have are fun. The maps they're good, but they're not like Gears of War maps that I remember every single fucking map from the original Gears of War. They were perfect. There's a lot from Gears of War 2 that are just classics, and there's a lot from Gears of War 3 that are classics. I can't say that these maps are classics. They're okay. It's about all I can really say.
Yeah, with like the whole overrun and survival thing. Like I can, like I said, I agree. I wish they would have kept horde and survival, and I mean, like horde and beast, yeah. But like, survival would be better if it was more than 10 rounds. And honestly, I wouldn't mind the class system in a horde-based game mode if, like, everybody could repair shit, and it still had the same kind of thing. Like, maybe the engineer can rebuild, like, put, like, broken barricades back up. Because, you know, in survival and overrun, if you lose a barricade, it's gone forever. You can't just make it pop up again and pay for it like you could in Gears 3. So, I mean, if they would have changed that. And also, you know, the engineer's the only class that has like two things. He can drop a turret and he can repair things, but the little thing to repair the barricades and whatnot is his secondary. So literally all he has is a shotgun. So he's really ineffective for the most part. But with Overrun, I mean, first off, which I found out, which was depressing, one of the things that they said was going to be an Overrun isn't, which was that you could get a blood mount for certain classes. I was really hoping to ride around on a Cantus with a blood mount and then just like wreck everybody's shit. But it's in the survival. But like they took like they took half of Horde and half of Beast Mode and squished it together. Like there was like easily 15 like locusts that you could play as in Beast Mode, but now there's like 8, and some of them are okay. The rest of them aren't really that good. Like I think you could play as a Mauler, and then the new Rager,
Which is cool.
which they can be a bitch sometimes, and then the Corpser and the Serapede, and then of course the Ticker, the Wretch, the Cantus, and the Grenadier. You're gonna have those guys, but like I wish there would have been more, and then I wish they would have had like maybe kind of like another reference to Left 4 Dead, like if they would have had Overrun and Survival go to 50, where like during the boss waves, one person can control like the classic, like that would sell the mode for me, like the classic like huge beasts that are in gears, like boom, you're a Brumok.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom, you're a Reaver. Like, oh. I mean, that might be a little overpowered, but I mean, heck, you could do it. You had to face him in Gears 3. I mean, what if, I don't think it would be any different. I mean, it would just have made it so much better if they had those game modes, and if Overrun was a tad bit better. But Overrun is a fantastic game mode. I have a lot of fun, especially playing as a sniper. I have a lot of fun playing as a sniper. Yeah, that's about it. Ratings?
8.25 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm going to give it an 8.8 out of 10. It's grown on me since our first impressions video. So, yeah. Bye.